to the news at 2000 hours. It's coming to you live from GRTS here in Banjul. In our top stories, His Excellency President Adama Barrow lays the foundation stone for the construction of the 38-kilometer road network linking communities in Sabah Sanjal. Stakeholders in the transport industry commemorate World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims. Senior officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society visit the governor of the North Bank region at his office in Kerawan. In internationals, governments across the globe are forced to start reintroducing restrictive measures even as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hit their economies. Elsewhere, Amnesty International confirms reports of a massacre of civilians in northern Ethiopia's Tigray region. Well, these plus many more stories coming ahead. To stay with us. Welcome to the news at 8 with me, Fatimata Sisay. We begin this edition of the news with the presidency because His Excellency Adama Barrow has laid the foundation stone for the construction of the 38-kilometer road network linking communities in Sabah Sanjal. The road project is funded by the government of the Gambia and forms part of the planned 400-kilometer road project across the country. The project is contracted to a risky construction firm which has accumulated immense experience in the road construction sector. As Mamoudou Jallo reports, the president is accompanied by a high-powered delegation including cabinet ministers, senior government officials and the regional authorities.
President, His Excellency Adama Barrow left Banjul for the provinces to lay the foundation stone for the commencement of works on important infrastructural projects in the North Bank and Central River regions. As he arrived in Gain Sanjal for the job, President Barrow was given a hero's welcome by excited residents who came out in numbers to escort his motorcade to the meeting grounds. Their speakers took turns to express gratitude to the government for responding to their plight after half a century of promises. Chief Malik Boy led the chorus, recalling how they have endured the challenges of life without a proper road network, expressing optimism that it will mark a new era in the lives and livelihoods of the people. Presidential advisor Alkali Conte revealed that President Barrow's government undertook a nationwide survey of roads with the ultimate goal of constructing them to a standard, adding that since coming to office, he has surpassed the combined record of the last two administrations. The governor of the North Bank region, Lamin Sedikan, disclosed that his region has witnessed the commencement of two groundbreaking projects this year that will significantly benefit the people, but also that he will keenly monitor progress to ensure that they meet standards. For the Minister of Works, Baramin Job, this project is just one of many others that government has initiated in line with its promises to Gambians. The project, the minister added, will benefit 140,000 people in 5 districts of the North Bank and Central River regions.
You know, optimistic for this country, because before, to do a set of roads like this, we will have to go and beg. We will have to go and take loans, and it takes years. The Lamin Kodopasemas road, for instance, took almost 40 years. But this one, within 1 year, we are able to do it, using local resources and local talents.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, described the event as an important milestone that will finally bring a first-class road to Sabah Sanjal after decades of waiting. He said the project is solely funded by government after initiating financial discipline, fighting corruption, and entrenching democracy.
If dependent on our development partners to construct these roads for us, it would have been possible, but it will take time. Therefore, it is very important to look inwards before depending on others. I am appealing to Gambians to be united and have a clear vision and purposes in order to develop this country.
He therefore urged local communities to support the RSK Group, a company that has vast experience and expertise in road construction. He concluded by reassuring Gambians that his government will always prioritize development as this is promises to Gambians. The President, flanked by his ministers and officials, symbolically laid the foundation stone for the construction of the Sabasanya Road project, which will take 16 months to complete. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the Gambian leader, President Adama Barrow, presided over the laying of foundation stone for the construction of the North Bank Rural Roads project, estimated to cost $16 billion. GRT's Modu Bajan reports the project, which will see 48 kilometers of the project's overall 86 kilometers constructed to benefit communities in Lower and Upper Salum, Nyani and Nyanija respectively in the northern part of the Central River region.
After the foundation stone of Lot 1 of the North Bank Rural Roads project in Gain Sanjal, President Adama Barrow proceeded to Kawur for a similar exercise. There, Barrow again presided over a convergence vis-à-vis the laying of the foundation stone for the construction of the Talk against more work. This part of the North Bank Rural Roads project, which is to be constructed by CSC company, runs from Kawur to Jimbala and Kawur to Kel Ulde amongst other settlements. To many residents of the Central River region, including Amadou Fall, as well as the governor of the area, Abasanyang, this part of the project, which also covers Kerjibi to Ker Ulde and Batindar, Chamen Nyanija and Buduk to Nyanga Bantang, is undoubtedly pivotal.
Imagine putting in the Simbara the Jimbala Highway or the roads in that cluster is alleviating them from many factors. One, they have access to markets, access to health facility. The road network is just too dilapidated in a form that people cannot just pass. So having a road access to those places to service about 20 to 30 communities is a great gesture. For Kerjibi Road, Sare Alpha is unimaginable. That road will pass through 3 districts, up in Upper Salum, Nyanija and Nyani. Imagine a road passing through that Undrum is about 50-something villages that is going to pass through. This is the trend of development, because these are alleviating the difficulties of people accessing many facilities of living.
Speaking to GRTS on the fully funded Gabe Government Road project, the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, Bailamin Job, amplified the need for more roads. Like infrastructural development theorists, Job proceeded that roads and this North Bank Rural Roads one in particular is indeed significant.
The North Bank Rural Roads project is a project that straddles between 2 regions, North Bank region and Central River region, and 5 constituencies, as I said. Sabasanyal, Lower Salum, Upper Salum, Nyanija and Nyani. And we estimate that this project, it will enable them to access schools, health centers, farms, markets. So it has a lot of significance for us. It's about 86 kilometers altogether.
Coming back to the Lot 2 part of the roads project, which is about 48 kilometers out of the 86, how important do you think it is in as much as reaching to places like Nyanija, which is a hard-to-reach area, is concerned?
Yes, this project is long awaited. The one from here, Kawur, it goes to Kerhai, Kerja and Jimbala. The other branch goes from here to Kerchandu. So there are 2 roads making about 16 kilometers. Now the rest, which is about 32 kilometers, is from Kerjibi up to Nyangabanta. That's a long one, and in a landlocked area. And for the first time, they will be accessing a good road.
Further elaborating on the development, President Barrow said it is historic that this road is entirely being built with 100% national funding. He said this is possible thanks to better financial management practices by government. Meanwhile, the chief of Lower Salum, Ali J. Ture, like the chief of Nyani Perba, who was also thankful for the initiative, equally applauded the Barrow administration for the road project. They challenged the people of Lower Salum and CRR by extension to move on with the president's development endeavors. It is like Lower Salum was a well, and you, Barrow, have taken us out of it, Ture added.
This road is very, very key in our area here, because it's the one that links Gambia to Senegal, and then it's a road that is equal important as the one that is going to from Bara to Janjambure. So this road is very, very important, it's key. And then I will tell you one thing, wherever we go, people always cry for this road. So if this government today comes and says they will do it for us, definitely we'll happy because it will boost the economic of this area. It will reduce rural-urban migration. So you will see people, as far as this road is here, they would like to stay and then do what they were doing, like agriculture. Definitely, we really appreciate it.
Orders such as the National Assembly member of the area, Seni Jawara, and a representative of CSE, which is to construct the road Amadou Gai, marked the occasion as a significant development in improving rural-urban connections. To many, the North Bank Rural Roads Project, coupled with the construction of the Hakalang Road in the same region and the part of the Trans-Gambia Road from the Senegalese border settlements of Kir Ayib to Sinoba, will duly galvanize rural-urban linkages and the attainment of a one-city state. For the news, this is Modu Bajan.
And now to global public health concern, because the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure for the first time commemorated the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims with stakeholders in the transport and health sector. The third Sunday of November each year is set aside by the United Nations to remember victims of road accidents and render support to survivors and their families. GRTS's Fatu Ilike Mulushe tells us more.
Traffic accidents are the 8th leading cause of global deaths, with crash injuries causing more fatalities than HIV and AIDS. In the Gambia, a spate of deadly road accidents have turned highways into massive death traps, causing undue loss of life, injuries and life-threatening disabilities. The significance of road safety is being freshly highlighted as the Gambia joins global commemorations of World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims. The eventful observance started off with a procession that saw civil society organizations, including the Gambia Transport Union, Red Cross volunteers, road traffic victims and other departments coming together for a solidarity march, carrying messages of solidarity and vital information urging action to prevent the unfolding crisis, claiming scores of innocent lives. The day is specially meant to remember and pray for victims and essentially assess the role of society and organizations in preventing what has been described as the most complex and complicated health crisis facing nations, especially in middle and low-income countries.
Road safety is the most complex, the most dangerous issue, public health problem the world is facing. It's unfortunate, in 2004, what we are saying was about 1.2 million people were dying on our roads every year globally. But this has extended to 1.35 million now as we talk. According to the latest report of the World Health Organization, 2018, 1.35 million people die every year on our roads.
The World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims was first commemorated by the United Kingdom 27 years ago. Since then, nations have realized the need for collaborative efforts in ensuring road safety. Civil society organizations are calling for a holistic approach to avert preventable road accidents caused by negligence, poor regulations and lack of infrastructure.
In many countries, as in the Gambia, families are frequently driven to poverty by the cost of prolonged medical care, the loss of a family breadwinner, or the extra funds needed to care for people with disabilities. This is unacceptable.
Some of the victims here narrated their ordeal as survivors of road accidents. Most of them now live with difficult disabilities and are categorized as physically challenged people. Their call for care and support resonates with the day's reflection on the need for more action to prevent accidents and make roads safe for all.
And the pedestrian, the other driver, the wheelbarrow pusher, the students trying to cross, the differently able, the elderly, focus, for it is our collective responsibility to get our effort for everyone.
These experiences have inspired the Ministry of Works with partners to initiate support lines to victims who received food items and cash to assist their short-term sustenance. The items were presented to the victims by the Minister of the Interior on behalf of the Minister of Works, Transport and Infrastructure.
This unnecessary road carnage we currently experience has to stop. Road traffic accident is identified as a socio-economic problem in the country. Implementation of the road safety strategy will go a long way in helping us meeting our road safety objective and eventually setting a stage in reaching our vision, which is Vision Zero.
Officials then proceeded to the Royal Victoria's Teaching Hospital in Banjul, where they handed 30,000 dialysis to the orthopedic department for onward distribution to 30 hospitalized victims of road traffic accidents receiving care at the EFSTH. The money, as highlighted by Dr. Marina, will greatly serve the patients as most of them continue paying hospital bills amidst family expenses.
This is a big contribution. Nothing is too small. Even if it's going to help buy a few medications, if it's going to pay for their bed fee, pay for transport back home, maybe even pay for crutches and other things that they may need, this will come in handy, and I'm sure they're all very grateful.
When was asked if the hospital has the capacity to carry out necessary surgeries successfully, doctors said gone are the days when human capacity was a challenge to the ward.
I think a lot of what the perception is either based a little bit on what has happened in the past, but also maybe not very good communication on the doctor's side as to what people should expect from their injuries. You know, if you have a very bad head injury or very bad spinal injury, everybody wants to recover and wants to get back to normal. And sometimes we have to set expectations realistically. People need to know that this is a life-changing injury. Things will never be the same again, no matter what you do in terms of an operation.
Most of the people admitted here were motorists, and majority of women victims were passengers out to secure daily sustenance for their households. The World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims returns to remind all motorists, road users, and authorities about the crucial role everyone plays in making roads safe for all. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatu Elika Mulushi.
From the report by Fatu Ilike Mulushi there, I am joined live in the studio by Mr. Momodu Gassama, and Mr. Gassama is the Health Promotion and Education Officer, the WHO office here in the Gambia, and he's here to update us the current status of road traffic accidents across the globe. Good evening, Mr. Gassama, and welcome to the news.
Thank you very much, Fatu.
It's indeed a touching story there, but before we go further, just give us an overview of some of the findings WHO have been conducting as far as road traffic accidents are concerned, because the phenomenon is described as one of the major leading causes of death across the globe.
Absolutely right. This is, if I can quote it rightly, the 2018 Global Road Safety Report, which is the latest we have, produced by the World Health Organization in collaboration with the member states of the organization, which totals like 194 countries. What we have seen in that report is alarming.
Right.
One, as I said, if you remember, if you look at the footage, we are seeing increase in road traffic crashes. In fact, it should not even be called road traffic accidents, because majority of these accidents are, they are predictable and they are also preventable. So if you can predict and prevent, why should you call it an accident? Anyway, what the world is saying, according to WHO, is that 1.35 million people die on our roads. If you want to equate that in terms of days, you're talking about over 3,000 people, about 3,700 people die daily on our road, globally.
Across the globe.
Across the globe.
Right.
And if you look at this, by 100,000 population, which is the most accurate way of really interpreting road traffic deaths data, is the whole world, in the whole world now, is about 18 people die per 100,000 population. So if you count every 100,000 people, 18 people die. But interestingly, unfortunately, Africa is top in terms of road traffic deaths.
So, Doctor, why do we top this data?
It's very unfortunate. A lot of factors are responsible. If you look at this globally, look at the low, if you divide the countries into three groups, high income, middle income, and low income.
Right.
What the statistics is saying, low income countries only have about 1% of the global world vehicles. And they contribute 13% of the road safety deaths. Can you imagine? You only have 1% of global motor vehicles, and you contribute 13%. Now, if you go to the middle-income countries, they constitute like 59% of the global vehicles, and they contribute about 80% of road traffic deaths. Now, if you add the low-income and the middle-income countries together, it's like 93% of, they contribute 93% of the road traffic deaths. So which means that only 7% is the high income countries only contribute 7% to the global road deaths. And they constitute 40% of global road vehicles.
Right.
So something fundamentally is wrong.
Right.
You are right.
Something fundamentally strong. We'll definitely come back to that. But let's look at these statistics here that we are talking about. What age bracket is really suffering from these road accidents that you termed as a crisis?
In fact, children and adolescents constitute more. In fact, if you like, WHO says between 5, in fact, road traffic accident, you call it, is the leading deaths among children aged 5 years to 29 years. And also, of course, the 8th leading cause of all deaths, whether adults or whatever, it was like, it ranked like 9th, but now it's 8th. So it looked like a bulk of people who die of road traffic accidents are between 15 and 44. So you can imagine, if you look at from 5 years to 44 years, this is the cream of every society. If you have people dying in this age group, you have a problem. Any country cannot afford it, because these are the people who should be productive for the economy. So that's why it's very devastating. You don't only even count the number of deaths, but if you look at also in terms of cost, what WHO says is like, globally, the world loses over $500 billion as a result of road traffic crashes.
Right. So when we trickle this down to the Gambia, how are we affected by this phenomenon?
Again, the Gambia, what we have gleaned from police statistics is that about 115 people die in this country, yearly, as a result of road traffic accidents. And nearly over 700 road traffic crashes occur in this country yearly. So you can imagine, it is, and then we don't know the true picture because it depends on the definition of a road death. What WHO, countries use different terms. Some within the 24 hours, within 48 hours, within 7 days, some even within 1 month. When somebody dies, it's counted as road traffic death.
Right.
So the figures are, the true pictures are not known.
So these are very staggering numbers we are talking about here, Doctor. So the WHO alongside other authorities, what are they saying that is supposed to be done to curb this trend?
Absolutely right. There is already, in fact, if you can recall, the United Nations, what we call United Decade for Road Safety, between 2011 to 2020. In fact, this is the year, it ends this year. Right. But again, this is now succeeded by the global SDG targets. Now, this is very clear. Road safety, you need a systems approach to road safety. There are critical pillars. You don't only count drivers, there are critical what we call pillars. One is you have to have a road safety management right. That means countries should have leadership in road safety. It cannot really be handled by, housed in a ministry. It has to be an independent body. That's the recommendation. Right. But of course, contexts differ. But what is recommended by the whole world is the World Health Organization, the United Nations at large, is countries should have use a systemic approach. And one of them is to have a very important mechanism for coordinating and, of course, leadership for road safety. Yeah. That's number one. You also have to look at the road itself. Safer road and mobility is important. Now you go to safer vehicles, safer road users, and pre and post crash. You need to also have all. So all these elements come to you. That's why it's a very complex issue. It's not a one size fits all. If you look at one, if you do one and ignore the other, you have a problem. Why do you need a hospital? The hospital, we know when people have this crash, they end up going to the hospital. If the hospital is not ready, we have heard the doctor saying now the capacity is being built, and of course it's a developing country, we are a developing country. I know that we don't have all the resources we need, but what is important is if people are able to be given some care at the site of the crash, and along transportation also, and until they reach hospital. That's what we call pre- and post-traumatic care.
Right. Dr. Wright, thank you so much. We'll leave it there because we don't have much time, but we appreciate your coming. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio.
Thank you very much.
That's Mr. Momodu Gassama, the Health, Promotion and Education Officer at the WHO Gambia office, updating us on current status of road traffic accidents or causes across the globe. Next, senior officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society monitoring projects under their purview across the country recently held a discussion with the governor of the North Link region at his office in Kerawan. The visit, according to Usman Mane, is meant to strengthen regional partnership with local government authorities for a more coordinated response to emergencies, humanitarian services and development programs.
Meeting the governor for the first time since assuming office in the North Bank region came at a time when the Gambia Red Cross Society and its volunteers received commendations from all sectors of society for their enormous efforts to COVID-19. The visit at the governor's office in Kerawan to meet local government authorities, according to officials, will consolidate the gains registered in development programs across the region. The region is porous to clandestine activities, disadvantaged in many areas, including agriculture and other vulnerabilities, which the Red Cross have been assisting. The Secretary General Gambia Red Cross Society gave a reassuring statement to deliver better service in improving household livelihoods and the fight against COVID-19.
We are going through a transformation that we want to ensure that the Gambia Red Cross is able to deliver the necessary services to the population through our support to the efforts of the government, which I think we've tried to do during the past years, but recently with the COVID-19 response. COVID is still here, and we are seeing what is happening in Europe and in America, which means we need to re-energize our teams, and that's why we are doing this tour, to make sure that people don't relax because the numbers have gone down.
The governor of the region, Lamin Sedikan, assured his support to the Red Cross executive branch to facilitate their operations across the region.
We rest assured that the governor is behind Red Cross. We know what Red Cross can do, and I have seen Red Cross doing extras. When times comes, when hard times comes, the Red Cross that comes in front to help. When we talk about frontline staff, Red Cross is one of the frontline staff who sacrifice their lives.
He, however, appealed for support in addressing their transportation challenges. The chairman of Kerawan Area Council, Malamin I.L. Bojang, underscored the crucial role of volunteers in the region amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
We want to encourage the use of masks and sanitizers in the lumos. So we are urging Red Cross to for that collaboration. I know they are always willing, so we want to thank them for the efforts that they have done within and during the COVID time. They have guarded jealously our borders.
The delegation further went in a closed-door meeting with staff of the branch to discuss activities of the society in the region before visiting Badibu Suarekunda, where the organization supported the village women garden with fencing in 2015, but still faced challenges to maximize production in the garden. The team later cruised to Tangkongkunda in the Summit District CRR to inspect the borehole project sponsored by donors Soul Health and UB1.
There has been some issues with regards to the contractor. They did not deliver on time, and secondly, the quality of the water that was coming from the first borehole was not satisfactory, and they had to sink 2 or 3 boreholes before now they are on the 4th one. Now, which we found now water is coming out and the water is clear. Now, the next stage is really that we bring the technicians to test the quality of the water and to make sure that it's good.
Tangkongkunda is among many communities who over the years have been struggling to access safe and clean drinking water. Thanks to the Gambia Red Cross Society, the village will be provided 11 taps with the capacity to supply the community. The VDC Vice Chairman, Karanke Tiana, thanked the benefactors for the gesture.
But ala de maroto, Red Cross we nyatele satola, yemma koy jikoto. Nkontanda baken se wata fanam dan late menna.
Usman Mane, GRTS.
We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take a look at the international news. Do stay with us.
In the mood of pranking your friends? Change your voice and spice up your calls with AfriCell Magic Voice service. You can choose to talk with a cartoon, a woman's or a monster's voice for only $1 per day. To activate the magic voice, call or SMS 188 or simply dial *188#. Have fun and enjoy the laughs.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Tired of seeing the message you have insufficient funds in your account? Worry no more. With AfriCell, the cholera credit just got way better.
Now you can continue your conversations with your loved ones. With the new cholera credit, you can now borrow up to $250 credit. Send a blank SMS to 152 to get your cholera credit and activate the service of your choice. For more info, please call 111.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our top stories before we wrap up this edition of the news. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has laid the foundation stone for the construction of the 38-kilometer road network linking communities in Sabasanja. Stakeholders in the transport industry commemorated World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims. Senior officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society visited the governor of the Northern region at his office in Karawan. In the internationals, veterans across the globe have been forced to start reintroducing restrictive measures even as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hit their economies. Elsewhere, Amnesty International has confirmed reports of a massacre of civilians in northern Ethiopia's Tigray region. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 8 with me, Fatima Tassise. Thank you for joining us. I'll be back in the studio at 2200 hours at more news. Until then, keep watching GRTS.